Good morning. We're going to do math review. Yesterday's video was about place value. You should have written at the top of your page, math review, and put yesterday's date, the 14th, 9/14/20, as the date for the place value lesson. This lesson now is on rounding. So you should write rounding, and to the side of it, write the date, today's date. So we're going to learn a little bit about rounding. Now that you understand place value a little bit better, we're going to talk about rounding off numbers to the nearest whatever place value. So if I say round this number to the nearest 10, and I give you a number like this. So first you have to identify the tens place, which is what? The 4. We're going to keep the 4, and everything else to that side is going to be a 0. So you keep this, you underline the number you're going to keep, you circle the number next to it, and you ask yourself, is it, and I want you to write this up here at the top, next to rounding, 4 or less, keep, 5 or more, round up. So write that at the very top before, right next to rounding. You're going to write the rule. 4 or less, keep, let's say keep the same. Keep the same. 5 or more, round up. So that's the question you're now going to ask yourself about this number. You underline the one you want to keep, the tens place I told you, down to the nearest 10. And we look at this number. When we're going to say, is this 4 or less, or is it 5 or more? It's 4 or less. So we keep this the same, and our new rounded number would be 840, not 84. 840 and 84 aren't the same amount. You just want to know, you have this much money in your bank account. You just say, just to the nearest 10, how much do I have? Well, that's how you round it to the nearest 10. Because 841 is a whole lot closer to 840 than it is to the 10 going the other way. What would the 10, what's the next 10 above 840? 850. Which is this closer to, that one or that one? Well, this one, of course, because it's only one more than that. This is, you have to count up 9 to get to here. So we're rounding to the nearest 10, and this is what we get. Below the 10, or whatever number we're told to round to, all we want is zeros. So let's do another one. Round to the nearest 100. So now we're looking at the hundreds place. Let me give you a number. We'll move this down a little bit. You should have written that rule down. So here's the number. Rounding to the nearest 100. So I'm going to underline the hundreds place. You should know that's in the hundreds. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Circle the one to the right of it. When I finish rounding, all I'm going to have is zeros to this side. So I look at this number. Is it 4 or less? Keep the same. 5 or more, round up. It's more than 5, so I round up. What do I round up? I round up the hundreds, so that's what I want to keep. So this becomes I'm gonna write it under here so you can see it. 3,000, this rounds up to 8, and these turn to zeros. Because 3,785 is a lot closer to 3,800 than it is to 3,700. So let's do one more. Round to the nearest 1,000. I'm not going to write to the nearest, I'm just going to write 1,000 to save you some time waiting for me to write all this out. Round to the nearest 1,000. Okay, I'm going to underline in purple this time just for the fun of it. 1,000. Where is it? There it is. Sorry, guys. You're thinking, Miss Margaret, hello, I can't see the words. Round to the nearest 1,000. So first of all, you have to say which one's the thousands place. Tens. Sorry, guys, I'm not thinking. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. So which one's the thousands? The 4. Then I look at the one next to it. Is it 4 or less? Stay the same. 5 or more, round up. It's more than 5, so the 4 rounds up to 5, and everything else turns to 0. That's rounding to the nearest 1,000. So let's pretend like you're a rich guy and you have all this money in the bank, and you just say to your person who keeps track of your money, how much do I have? Just to the closest 1,000. I don't care about all the little stuff. I can make more money real fast if I need to. So he tells you, well, you have almost 35,000 because 34,792 is closer to 35,000 than it is to 34,000. Sorry for the cough. The smoke is getting to me. 34,700, this is almost 34,800, which is a whole lot closer to 35,000 than to 34,000. So that's how you do rounding. So here's what I want you to do on your paper, on your math review paper. Round these two numbers to the nearest 10. Write those down. Round these following two numbers to the nearest 100. Pause the video if you need to write those down. And round those two numbers to the nearest 1,000. Remember, underline the place value that you want to keep. Look at the one to the right of it, circle it, ask yourself the two questions. 4 or less. Keep the same, 5 or more, round up, and then do that to that one that's underlined, and everything else should be zeros. But the number needs to end up being the same length as the number you started out with. So this one's 1,000, so it's still going to be 8,000. You have to figure out what to do with, sorry, yeah. You know what, I'm going to change this to this. Yeah, there you go. So you're still going to have a number that's this long, but you're not, after the thousands place, you're going to have all zeros on the other side. Call me if you have any questions. Bye.